the problem, I think, that's been articulated is there's a huge mismatch between the skill set of the kids leaving high school and the people who want help. And that's a problem because theoretically, we ought to be pushing more of the kids who aren't going on to Montgomery College into Montgomery College because we've been told, and it's no doubt true in this case, that the only way we're going to fill those jobs locally is if we can match the skill set of our high school graduates to the skill set demanded by the employers. So we should actually be trying to figure out how do we get the kids in high school and push them into a track that says this is where the jobs are, this is what you need to have the jobs, and then deal with the issue of increasing enrollment and how we're going to deal with it. I'd rather deal with that as a problem than anything else, because at least it means we're going to be employing more people in better paid jobs. So I think we ought to be thinking about this as we go forward. The other comment I was going to make is just because your enrollment goes down doesn't mean the number of classes. When you take 2,000 kids and spread it over all the campuses and all the, it's like, so to the extent that you've offered new courses, it's not just the startup cost, it's the very fact that you're offering the courses is going to indicate there's a change. And so you may get some declining enrollment, but you may well have kids taking different courses than they took before, and not so much that they emptied out some other class. 2,000 kids over the whole system isn't going to empty a whole lot of classrooms. It may not empty any classes. There may be a kid here and there, but those kids may well be taking different coursework. So I guess I see opportunities here, and I guess the challenge for us is to figure out how do we align this kind of opportunity with our resources, because if we cannot figure out how to educate kids into these jobs, we're going to continue to have this problem. They're not employed. The number of jobs that don't require more than high school is just simply going to decline. If automation doesn't wipe them out, it'll be surprising. So we need to figure out how to manage this transition. There are more advanced societies than us on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean that spend a lot of energy channeling kids from school, particularly even before high school, into awareness of career paths so that they think about, so jobs are part of what they think about. We do a lousy job, and not just Montgomery County, I would say society in general, of focusing kids when they're in high school and even earlier on where do your careers lie and what are the options out there. So kids don't even know what the possibilities are, and they don't know what kind of education comes attached to those possibilities. And I think that's one of the challenges here. I was reading something today, and they just happened to mention that the state of Maryland has a program for teaching people who graduate medical school. No, paying people who graduate medical school. So medical school becomes almost free, up to $200,000 or $50,000 a year in 2-year increments. And I'm thinking of how many people growing up in Montgomery County whose parents say, don't even think about medical school, I'm never going to be able to afford to send you there. Because I heard that when I was a kid. And I know parents told people, don't even think about going to that school, don't even think about doing that. Because so here we've got a state program that will pay for your tuition to become a doctor. And we're probably not even telling kids that. And what would happen if people knew that if you follow this path, there's a way forward? It's why I've pushed on the educational thing and getting something starting in high school, if not earlier, to push kids into teaching. So we're not sitting and trying to find a diverse workforce from someplace else, but figuring out how do we tell kids, if you do this and you follow this, you do well in high school, and we have a path through college that can get you the teaching degree, and if you teach in Montgomery County, then this education is going to be free. I think we've got to think more aggressively about pushing people through these kind of career paths so we can deal with some of the socioeconomic obstacles. I mean, we've got a diverse population. There's no excuse for us for not creating a diverse and varied workforce that can fill in all across the workforce, and not just at the low end of the workforce. This starts earlier than high school.
Right.
I taught elementary school, and did a survey once with kids and asked them what jobs they were like. I had a list of jobs, and so what jobs do you predict a person of a certain color or gender would have, and what jobs would you think you're going to have. And I can tell you the breakdown was frighteningly predictable on racial and gender lines in terms of what jobs they thought the pictures of smiling, happy people with no giveaways to what their profession was, what job they thought they had, and what job they thought they were going to get. And I remember being taught when I was getting my ed degree, the kids make these kind of decisions and find their place in the world when they're like 11, 12, 13 years old. And I was dealing with 10-year-old kids. And they're already thinking about what's possible. And the reason it's important is because if they don't think that it's possible to be something more, and and I was dealing with a heavy immigrant population, I always say, look, they came out of a village in El Salvador. They had a light strung on a wire. They had a dirt floor. They pumped water outside. They come here, they've got an air-conditioned apartment, the pickup truck, and stuff, and they say, I can succeed and have much more than ever saw in my earlier life just hanging drywall or doing paint. And so they were thinking about how quick do I get out of school and get a job and start making money, because they weren't thinking about and didn't know about the other possibilities. I used to just put my kids on the ride-on bus, go to the metro, and go downtown down in DC because I wanted them to see lots of different people and lots of different colors and shapes doing professional jobs, and God forbid wearing a tie. It wasn't my thing, but I get where it comes from.
We'll get you there.
But just so people saw a possibility that was different than what's in their neighborhood, because in their neighborhoods they never see this. And if you don't get out of it and you don't see it, you don't know that that's the real world. Your world becomes the environment that you stay in, and maybe it's not so bad when you're 4 and 5 years old, but if that's the environment you see all the way through your early teens, it's really hard to envision how you get out. And so we need to, I really believe they need to start earlier with kids.